you can only watch it for the first time once. It'll be interesting to see what we catch and what we don't.
Did you ever play the video game Mass Effect?
This is where Babylon 5 is becoming Babylon 5.
That was great. I love that.
100% completely accurate, definitive ranking of Babylon 5.
I love it so much.
We're officially into it, Jeff.
The year is 2025. The name of the podcast, Babylon 5, for the second time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the second time. My name is Brent Allen.
And I'm Jeff Akin. Brent and I used to be Star Trek podcasters, and then we watched Babylon 5 for the first time, and that changed absolutely everything. So now we're watching this incredible series for the second time, catching all the stuff that we didn't catch the first time around.
But don't worry, we're still doing the thing that Jeff and I do, which is searching for those sci-fi messages. I knew you guys were sweating that one out.
Right.
We're asking what this episode is trying to tell us, and do we have a different understanding of it this time around? Also, because we get a chance to look at all the other stuff, we're going to see what other people said this episode was about and pull that in too. Now, real quick warning for everybody. I feel like we should have like a warning sound here. Jeff.
Oh, right,
like
yeah.
like a woo, woo kind of a thing.
Just
Anyway.
got this.
No.
We got to repurpose that.
No,
something.
I am glad to never hear that sound again. But fair warning. Everything from this point forward in this show is 100% spoiler filled. Jeff and I could talk about anything from any episode in any part of the Babylon 5 universe, canon, lore, books, movies, TV series, spin-offs, comic books, media, con panels, anything is fair game for Jeff and I to talk about. So if you haven't seen this incredible series for the first time, consider this your spoiler warning.
Today, Brent, we're going to be watching the Nom de first season of Babylon 5. We're watching Signs and Portents for the second time. I remember what my first time experience was like on this one. I think I do, at least. I remember that I felt like this one was 10 pounds of fat shoved into a 5-pound bag. Like, just so much. And a phrase I remember saying, I think we repeated both, was everything prior to this was prologue. Like, this is the actual beginning of Babylon 5 right here. And I think this is where we really started pulling out some theories and things like that and stringing stuff together. I thought it was really fun. I thought it was a fun episode that was heavy and real and pulled us into Babylon 5. You remember what you thought about it?
No. But I know what I think about it now as a person looking back on it.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I remember going into this episode being very keyed in on the fact that it was a super important episode, that it was the name of the season, which big episode. I also remember hearing at some point, I don't remember whether it was before or after, but it affects me now as I'm looking back at the episode. JMS has said that there's only like 3 or 4 episodes you really have to watch out of season 1, and this is one of them. So again, big episode. Super important episode. I do remember thinking, and as you're talking about the red string yarn and everything, to me, it all came down to the eye, that stupid eye. And I thought it was going to be something so important going forward. We're going to see it again. It's going to be a thing. I still say we should have seen it from Londo when he actually became the emperor, different stuff like that. Maybe he had it. He's hanging on to it, something. This eye, I even posited that this eye was the thing in Majel Barrett's character, whatever her name was. I always forget.
Lady Morella.
Lady Morella. She had a prophecy talking about don't pluck out the eye that doesn't see, or something like that. That she was referring to this eye.
Yeah.
So I those were the threads that I was I was keyed in on those things. And as we're about to watch this for the second time, right now, I kind of feel a little ho-hum about this episode.
Really?
Like going into it. I really do. Because here's what I know now. That eye means nothing in the grand scheme of things. Like nothing. Save your emails, people. Okay? Just look. Is where I am.
We've seen the show. We've seen the show.
Yeah, we've seen the show. I know that this episode's important, but what is the biggest thing about this episode? Is we meet Morden and we hear the phrase, "What do you want?" And Londo going, I want the Narn dead and whatever, which of course that's really, really important.
Yes.
Like that one moment at the very end of the episode, that is super important. I just expected this episode to have more weight to it ultimately. And so I think having this big setup, and you're going to tell me what I actually said back then, but I feel very let down by this episode because it felt like it should have been this really super huge thing. And we had this one part at the very end, and that's really the only part that mattered. We met a character. Okay, fine. And we had this one thing happen. I know it's super important, but it just, the weight of what it is just feels like it was overdone. People, oh, it's really important, really. You could have put this in. You could have put those two things in any episode. To me, that's where I am right now. I'm happy to watch this episode and have a different viewpoint of that coming out of it. That's just where I am. Ultimately, my impression right now, as of this moment, is this is a fine episode. Good, not great. Maybe not as important as everybody thinks it is. Although there is the whole Morden thing, and Londo says that thing, and that's really important later on. That's what I think.
Well, I went back. I listened to our first time discussion on this one, and I think that hindsight has really done a lot to how you perceive this episode.
Fully admit that.
Your exact quote at the end. This feels like it's a super important, game-changing episode for the show.
Yes. It was.
It was, absolutely.
And it was because of this one little thing at the very end.
You enjoyed the episode tremendously. We both did, actually. Right. But I think you enjoyed it a lot more than well, not a lot more, but you were just really into the story in the episode itself.
You know why, Jeff? Because nothing in Babylon 5 is wasted.
Nothing, not a single thing.
It all comes back.
I love how quickly people rolled back on that. It's like, well, I mean, maybe not everything. Some of you were pretty adamant that it was everything. But you compared this episode, not just this episode, but Babylon 5 to Fast and Furious, the Fast and Furious series of movies. And
what did I say about that? Because I love that series.
So there's two things that you brought up, and one was, I guess it was the first few final Fast and Furious movies, like the first 3 or 4, were just setting everything.
The first 3 are prequel to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and now 11 coming out, I guess.
Yeah. So like everything to this point was prologue, just like Fast and Furious 1 through 3, and then you even doubled down on just like, well, and once you're in the story, like it's going to get ridiculous, but it's fun, and it's just part of the thing, and that's going to be Babylon 5. Like we're gonna jump into space, and we're gonna all those things or whatever. So
there are definitely things about Babylon 5 that are just ridiculous, and it's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We introduced Morden, and we're like, okay, so he's probably a bad guy, maybe, and we weren't sure if he was human or not. We had a lot of confusion actually around what the shadows are, who controls them. Is that big blobby ship thing, was that a shadow? Is Morden a shadow? Does he control the shadows? Just a ton of questions. But we ended up spinning this theory together that we said, so the Vorlons and the Minbari have been working secretly to prepare the galaxy for whomever they are. And at one point I even said, it's almost like they knew something was coming.
This episode was originally titled something else, and I'm really glad they changed the name of it.
What was it?
The original working title of the episode, or the original name of the episode, was Raiding Party.
Oh, that's dumb.
So in a lot of the comments, they're talking about, you're going to see this in Raiding Party. You're going to see this in Raiding Party, until eventually it changes over to that. Speaking of working names, working titles, JMS wasn't exactly sure what we were going to call the Shadows yet.
Okay.
So he was just calling them the Shadow Men.
Yeah.
It's the Shadow Men. Yeah. So that was his working name. Do we actually get the name Shadows in this episode? Do we know? We'll discover it.
We do sort of, because I know we talked about the Shadows.
Okay. We'll see. We'll see exactly what that is. I really liked this. JMS, and this is one of those questions that I think people have asked JMS several times at many different cons, and he kind of gives the same answer, but in like 15 different ways, like just a little bit different. Or it's something he said in one spot and he just continues to say it wherever he goes, but it's always just a little bit different. So part of what made this particular entry so long was it's like they had every single one of those responses.
Oh God. Okay.
It's like he's just saying the same thing. But basically what he was saying was he loves writing a situation where one thing seems to be happening, but the opposite thing is actually what's going on or is what's being said. And as an example, Morden is getting tossed out of Delenn's quarters. Like he just did something really bad. But the whole time he's super nice and he's smiling. And this is what's coming across. If you watch Morden throughout the course of this episode, he's actually really nice.
Yeah.
And he's really helpful. And he does all the good things. But you're left with the impression at the end that he is a bad guy. Versus when you look at Kosh. And I'm going to pull this up because he actually talked about it. Kosh, from what we've seen of him so far, destroys our chances for immortality. Refuses to get involved in the affairs of others. Is plainly studying us. Terrorizes Talia with that one episode. Yet we get the sense he's a good guy. He's doing all this crappy stuff, but we get the sense that he's a good guy. I can see now why you and I don't know about you. I know that I still look at the Vorlons and I still think the Vorlons are good.
Yeah.
They're fundamentally good. The Shadows are fundamentally bad and evil. The Vorlons just went nutso after Kosh got killed.
Yeah.
Right. But up till that point, their way, their method of trying to help people get through and evolve is the correct way to do it. That's my opinion. That's where I am right now. Maybe as we go through this, I'll change.
I hope you do, but because it's not. The Shadows aren't the right way either. There is no one right way.
We'll talk about that.
Well, cool. That's it for the Lurkers Guide?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I got.
What do you say we watch the episode?
Wow, finally. Yes, let's do this.
I'm excited for this. Hey, if you're joining us for the first time, we're joined here in our recordings by our council chambers.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, it's one of my favorite things. We get to hang out. They get to chat with us, and sometimes we're going to pull in comments from them. It's one of the fun things to get to share with everybody. But what we're about to go do now is literally bring up the episode and watch it. So if you haven't seen this episode or watched our first time reaction to it, I highly recommend that you do. Things will make a lot more sense to you as we dive in. If you're joining us on YouTube, then you're going to see the cut up kind of reaction video to this whole thing, all the highlights and whatnot. But if you want to see the full and unedited version, join us at our Patreon page. That's patreon.com/Babylon5 first, the number 5. And the word first. And
Jeff, just to highlight our amazing council chambers, our friend Ben just said this. It would have been great to see Cartagia toss the eye to the court jester to juggle or something like that.
To Jakar.
Using it as a toy.
Make Jakar do it.
Jakar do it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been something else.
Good call.
Anyway, let's say, hey, listen, if you guys are listening to us on the audio side of things, like just a podcasting app or Audible or something like that, we're going to meet you on the other side of this episode. We'll be back where we're going to share some of our thoughts, our new findings, things we saw for the first time this time that we didn't see the first time around. And of course, we'll talk about any messages that we uncover. So Jeff, let's do the thing.
Let's do it.
Accessing file.
I still say Claudia Christian.
Why does my mouth always taste like old carpet in the morning?
Unknown.
Wakes up.
Checking medical logs.
Beautiful.
I agree. I have some really, really inappropriate thoughts on her mouth tasting like old carpet.
Especially knowing what we know.
Yeah.
Especially knowing what we know.
Yeah. Sleeping is not the problem. Waking up.
Good for her. Good for her.
That is a problem.
Waking up is a problem. I
Hard
feel
time getting
that.
up when it's
No
dark
judgment
outside.
on here.
But
It's
in
just
space,
funny.
it's always dark.
I know.
Picking up a distress signal.
Put it on screen.
You know what? I want to know more about that girl.
I agree.
She's around through all 5 seasons.
No, she goes away
No?
after the first season. She gets replaced by Corwin.
Babylon 5, the fighter. What is your situation?
Are you sure?
100%.
There's somebody there other than Corwin that we see all the time.
But they don't get to speak.
Tell them to home in on his signal.
She goes away.
They're coming in. They're all over the place.
So Corwin survived, but Shepard did not.
Right?
He's gone.
Big old sting at the
It was
end
the
there.
dawn of the
That was a
third
raiding
age of
party.
mankind.
Yeah.
This is a cool shot. Kudos to the shot folks. And this dude just walking solo. You and I have seen this a lot, Jeff. People walking solo through this like hangar bay with nobody else doing anything around. You know he's bad. How do you know he's bad? Jeff?
Because he's the guy coming onto the station at the beginning of the episode.
I've been out of circulation. Spent the last few years doing some exploration out on the rim.
The rim.
Anything interesting?
Yes.
You could say so.
Even after we cut off their supply of heavy weapons, the raiders have continued to escalate their attacks. The last two have been in close proximity
It's
to
weird
Babylon
what a
5.
We
big
can't let
deal
this go
Raiders
on.
used
If
to
we
be.
can't guarantee safe passage to the station.
I know. Just
Makes
two problems.
sense, but
One, by the time we hear about an attack in progress, it's too late to do anything about it. Two, we can't figure out how they're getting out so fast.
But they're always still
Ships
out there.
that small
though.
have to use jump gates, same as
It's like they're
anybody
just
else.
out there, but
Getting
they're
from
just
the
an
point of the
annoyance
last
after a
attack
while.
to the nearest gate takes 4 hours at maximum burn. but they were gone in less than 2.
Can I tell you what I'm starting to wonder? So we know about Michael O'Hare's situation, right?
Yeah.
Was this something that was affecting him in the earlier episodes, and it really only kind of started manifesting at some point towards the end of the show, towards the end of the first season or the middle part of the first season? Like, when is this coming in? Because what you and I also know is that Jared Doyle had a big problem working with him.
Yeah.
And like, I'm watching how this scene is cut together, and I'm wondering how many of these shots those two were actually in the same room for.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much were they just using like a stand-in or something like that just to kind of keep them separate? Like, I don't know how much they had to keep separated or not. Like, I'm curious about the behind the scenes on that issue. And because I got to tell you, Michael O'Hare is not acting any different now than he was before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is good because he's an actor.
Mm-hmm.
You should not be able to tell, right? Like,
yeah. That's the job. My understanding is that like it was from go. There were some kind of things, but as it went, it just got a little harder for him to hold on to. And I think that his relationship with JMS got to a point where he was just more comfortable talking about it and more comfortable not I don't think he masked it as much because he felt comfortable around him. Yeah. To a point, but I don't know that for sure.
But here we are on the 13th episode. Like, I imagine at this point, even with it being unknown, like it's got to be starting to flare up or come to more light. Like, did Jared Doyle just always have an issue working with Michael O'Hare, or was it just as this thing got worse and worse and worse? I don't know, and I'm just I'm seeing this show through the behind the scenes now. I think a little bit.
Okay, yeah,
product of reading the Lurker's Guide. I think. Yeah, thinking about it from that standpoint.
Stand by. We'll be right back. Are you ready to take your Babylon 5 for the first time experience to the next level? With our exclusive Patreon, you'll get access to all kinds of cool stuff that you can only find there. Our recording notes, unedited reaction videos, an exclusive Discord community. And you can even be listed as a producer of the show. Plus, we even offer exclusive meet and greets and hangouts. You won't find this kind of experience anywhere else. Get all these amazing benefits, plus the opportunity to interact with other fans from around the world. It's being part of a huge community where everyone shares the same appreciation for Babylon 5. Subscribe at patreon.com/Babylon5First. That's the number 5 and the word first to get access to these incredible benefits. That's patreon.com/Babylon5First. We can't wait to see you there.
Not long ago, something happened. I told you about the Battle of the Line.
Interesting thing, given what we were just saying.
That I couldn't remember. I need your help. Try and find out what happened and why. This is strictly unofficial. You don't have to take on the job if you don't want to.
Jeff.
That was all one or all back and forth. That's impressive.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hear it.
That was a cool shot.
Don't leave anything out.
I was noticing.
To your point on like that's weird. Hey, I'm a friend and a help or whatever. I'm always impressed when there's like backstage heat between, but then they can still be professional. I just finished watching the series Silicon Valley, which I think went on for about 2 seasons too long, but was pretty funny. But the main character and one of the main women on the show, like, I don't think to the point of like harassment or anything, but he definitely made her very uncomfortable. And they like but on the show, like, they joke, they even have some flirty stuff or whatever. You would never know. And that's professionalism. Also, people should never be treated like that in the workplace, but it's impressive to see.
I finally received confirmation that payment in full has been deposited into my account back on Earth.
And
I hope.
Here's the merchandise.
Payment in full before I get the merchandise?
A little weird.
Great maker.
Nice piece of jewelry, isn't it?
It's not just jewelry.
A piece of jewelry. This is the eye, the oldest symbol of Centauri nobility.
Look at how important this thing is.
Right. He's like, maybe I should have charged you more, is what you're saying.
Of the Republic, lost over 100 years ago at the Battle of Nashak. But I would very much like to know how you got your hands on this.
Didn't pay for that.
No, you wouldn't.
You had to pay him a lot of ducats.
So it makes sense that the government would know that he has this because they paid for it. There's dude. I really want him to be eating a salad. Instead, he's looking at a napkin.
Right. It's out with a balsamic vinaigrette on it. Like, it just has that look. Oh, here we go. Here's the scene with the human in the elevator.
The way you remember this kind of stuff, Jeff.
See, here's dude.
Ambassador?
I have already pushed it.
I pushed it again.
He's just standing there, minding his own
there is a
business.
famine on your world's southern frontier. Though I
Look at
have
him, just
noticed
kinda-
that your own people have continued to exploit your world's resources. That's evolution for you.
Now see here.
Take the famine as a blessing, Ambassador.
Threat! Yes, threat!
Now you can go to hell.
And you can kiss my pouch, you!
There it is.
Now look what you made me do.
Whoa, Jeff!
Assume that once they were finished.
I just got something.
Okay.
I just got something. Wow, I can't believe I didn't see it the first time. I couldn't believe you didn't see it the first time. Here you have the Narn and the Centauri, and they're arguing, and they have their stuff going on. And stuck in between them is a human being.
Uh-huh.
Dude, this is just like, later on between the Shadows and the Vorlons, and people are just stuck between them, and they're just having their little fight with no regard to anything else really going on, and they no recognition that there's a person in between them.
Right? How did we miss that?
I don't know how we missed that.
I actually don't think we really missed
It's
it.
it's great foreshadowing.
Yeah.
It actually really is.
It's
It really is.
beautiful. And again, I want to point out again, fight, but at the end they say and do the exact same thing. Not so different.
Well, because we also know, like, later on, like in the future, don't the Centauri and the Narn just sort of go away?
Sort of.
Like the humans ascend. The humans do some stuff. I don't know about the Minbari, but don't the Centauri and the Narn just sort of
That's what Kosh says happens.
go out of existence, right? So here's the thing. I'm a little bit sad that I read this in the Lurker's Guide.
Yeah.
Because I kind of wonder what it would have been like to see that scene.
Oh, yeah.
Would we have picked up on it at all?
Right.
The answer is probably not. I just want to be clear. Probably not. Would we?
I wouldn't be surprised because we picked up on something about it. We talked about it the first time even. We didn't have the context of what comes, but it was just like, isn't that awkward?
Right. But also, I will never watch that scene the same again.
Oh, no. It's so...
Because that makes that a killer scene for more than just Londo and Jakar being in it.
Yeah. Here's the story.
Yeah. In a nutshell. You want to know what Babylon 5 is about? Here. Watch this scene from episode 13.
And if you don't get it, you can kiss my pouch.
With me, the Minbari wiped my memory of being taken aboard their cruise.
I feel like that should be a t-shirt.
Back
Kiss
in
my
ship.
pouch.
Totally. Yes.
What do you want?
What I want is for you to go away and leave me in peace.
Go away and never come back.
As you say.
The Centauri stripped my world. I want justice.
But what do you want?
Suck the marrow from their bones and grind their skulls to powder.
Yes.
What do you want?
To tear down their cities, blacken their sky, sow their ground with salt.
You know, it occurs to me.
I don't know.
Jakar kind of gets what he
As
wants.
long as my homeworld's safety is
It
guaranteed,
really does, huh? Ooh.
I don't know that it matters.
Outside of his own homeworld safety
Well,
guarantee.
thank you very much for your time, Ambassador. Good day.
But yeah, the sky gets blackened when the Vorlon fly over it. They blow up the island of Selene, right? Like, so it gets, there's the burned and salted.
Their cities are burned down and ground is salted, and
when the drought comes, it happens across the entire planet.
And eventually they go to nothing.
And like Texas Analyst Shock in the chat says, he gets what he wants, and he's horrified by it.
Rightly so.
Mm-hmm. It's like, that's the difference. We talked about how big this dude's hair is.
Yep.
What does it say behind
Because what we...
This place.
Oh, Babylon 5 to host a national conference.
Fire, death, pain.
Pain!
No.
I don't know that they ever explicitly say this, but the bigger your hair is, the more important you are.
Yeah. We see
Until
it.
Cartagia comes in and wants to make it really small again.
Mm-hmm. We see it in Veer, right, as in his story. And then I think the closest they get is Cartagia being like, that's an old fashioned.
Yeah. Well, no, they go even further than what Cartagia did, because we get Emperor Turin, who was bald.
He went all the way.
Yeah.
Something wrong, Ambassador?
No, just a moment of fatigue.
This is the first time we've seen it in her head, right?
In her, yeah. Because we saw the dude who lives in her closet. We saw that before.
Ambassador.
But she sees the shadow. Like,
Leave me.
Yeah.
Get out.
Okay.
Now.
They never explain exactly what's happening here, do they?
No. I think we can piece it together now, knowing what we know.
Okay. Chat room. I'm going to reach out to our council chambers. All right. You guys are going to have a few minutes to type this in and let us know. Do you know what is happening here? Why does she have this thing in her forehead? Why is it glowing and why is it activated by the shadows? While they're doing that, if they're going to do that, they may not. Jeff, let's piece it together. What you got?
So there's something where, because they've been working on this shadow thing, they know they're coming back, right? She and Ranger 1 dude back in the beginning were like, we believe. And I don't know where the triangle thing comes from, but I think that as soon as she has that, oh my God, I feel the shadows here. And what we know, there are shadows with Morden.
Right. They're flanking him.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
You know, and so maybe somehow she feels that presence or something, but
she gets it. Her head starts tingling and her teal emblem comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Her prime. She's silver.
Her first prime.
She's second prime, I guess. But
yeah. Well, she is the newest member on the council, so you know.
Yeah, but yeah, but it's interesting because that never happens again.
But even not happening again, because this is clearly one of those things like the gravity rings and all that kind of stuff that they drop, but it's still here, which means it happens. Like, so is this thing in the forehead, is this exclusive to Grey Councils?
Oh,
to Satai? Is it exclusive to Satai? Is it something else altogether? Is it like...
Well, Becky says in the chat, she recalls correctly, originally going to happen with the Minbari when they were in the presence of shadows, but he changed his mind because it just didn't really work.
Probably a good change.
And then Trey says, we got to notice that it was actually there throughout seasons 2 through 5. We just have to open our eyes and watch more closely.
Right. And they can't have gotten this for the purpose of detecting shadows.
Right, because dude who lives in her closet had it when it was Sinclair.
Yeah, right. Does it show through at like an emotional time? And she was feeling something and it was tingling her and it made that like come out. But I mean, she freaked out and was trying to hide it so that he wouldn't see it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Oh, but because if it's a Grey Council, that makes sense to be a Grey Council thing. He can't know I'm Grey Council, but if you're covering your forehead and you know to look for that, like it's kind of a
giveaway, right?
Yeah. Our first time watch, I thought it just meant she was a 12-year-old boy who got asked to go to the front of the class and do the math problem on the chalkboard. Nope.
Can't teach. I got to sit right here.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that one. I'll take the F.
It's fine. Listen to all teachers out there, okay? From about the 4th grade on, when a girl asks to go to the restroom, let her go. Mm-hmm. Ask no questions. When a boy says he cannot come up to the front of the classroom, do not make him. Ask no questions. Let's leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know JMS drops this, but I need something about this.
Yeah.
You know, and JMS is like, I dropped it for a reason. Stop it. But I need something. Okay. Taking on 2-inch now. Let's go. And it goes away.
Yeah.
They're here.
That's how it works now.
So she recognizes that it's the shadows.
Yeah. Yeah, this is where it's like they've known this has been coming the whole time. Oh my gosh.
You know, from what I understand, JMS never liked this prop. I think it's fine.
It looks like a Christmas ornament I have.
Sure, but I think it's fine.
No one else knows
as a prop.
No one.
I think it's
Except the man who brought it here. I think we can rely on his discretion.
There is no greater symbol of authority. Valari, the eye belongs to my...
Who has the eye is the Emperor,
house.
is in charge. Like...
Symbolically, yeah.
Give it to thee.
We must all make our sacrifices.
If I were to return with the eye, claim the throne for myself.
Lord Kiro, please. I understand your feelings. You could do what you describe, but without support, you would be dead within a day of trying.
I like how dispassionate he is about being Emperor.
Just Lord Kiro.
Here's the thing, though. Stop. Why is Kiro talking to Londo? I just picked up on something. So
okay.
Why is he talking to Londo?
Yeah, why? What did you get?
Think about it. Okay. Prior to Londo even becoming Emperor, all right, how often do we see Londo activate his network of people that are loyal to him and under his control?
Right. Okay.
And and loyal to House Malari.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Quite evidently, House Malari, despite Londo being kind of on this backwoods outpost, and this is a shit job.
He's drumming up. He's drumming up that important support.
He's trying to get the support of House. I mean, this goes Game of Thrones, really, is what we're talking about here. He's trying to get the support of House Malari.
Yeah.
right? And Londo says, without support, okay, let me add an extra word. Without our support, or maybe ours and a few others, you're going to be dead within the day. Because Londo's got some, he's got some oomph back home still.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
I'll leave this in your care tonight.
Yeah, here's where he's like, well, it's not
In
biting.
my possession, I might do something foolish.
But it's interesting, he says Turin hasn't been out in like a year.
night.
And then
Yeah.
when he does come out, he's a very changed person and sees things in a very different way.
Yeah.
Where did it all go wrong?
And he comes to Babylon 5 to say, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Where did we lose it all?
I don't know.
He feels like he's swinging out of his league right now. I can't have these conversations. I don't have an opinion on that.
Well, but see, no, this is where I love the complexity of a character like Londo Mollari. Because we've already seen him say, I forgot. No. Has he done that yet?
They
I
forgot how to
to
dance. Mm-hmm. That was the
My
Winnie
shoes
Cooper.
were too tight.
Yeah.
Right? We've seen him in bed with Lady Adira.
This is Ladira, who's here now.
Melania, whatever her name is. What's her name? The Major
Morella.
Morella character. Morella, thank you. But in bed with Lady Adira, and he's like, I wear a mask and I don't like my life is not about this kind of stuff anymore. But yet we see him right here in this moment. Like, I don't know where we lost it all. I don't know where it all went wrong. It's all crap. It doesn't mean anything. It's all awful. He knows that. He knows it goes to bad stuff, but also where did we lose our oomph as a people?
Yeah.
I don't know. He is a man who is torn between two places.
Yeah.
And it makes him such a wonderfully and incredibly complex character who feels more real to me than any other single character on this show and most other shows.
Yeah.
Because this is what people are like.
Yeah. This is how it works.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Londo's got to be such an interesting character to play. Now, see, she sees it destructing and blowing up in fire and war and all this sort of stuff. Although we know Babylon 5 ends in fire, it's not what she sees.
But there is the Babylon Squared timeline where it is possible.
But that was a future that could be.
So is this.
I don't get right, but that's what I'm saying. I don't get the feeling that JMS is writing a multiverse type script. Where we can have mirror universes and all that kind of stuff. I don't get the feeling he's writing that at all. So obviously any future is possible, right? But where when we saw Sleeping in Light and we see the station blow up, people are like, hey, that's Lady Adira's thing coming true because it ended in fire. And yeah, but it's not really what she saw. It's yes, it ended in fire, but it's not. She saw something else.
She saw a battle, war. Yeah. And that's where I think, because I agree, he's not writing a multiverse thing, but I think he's writing a Frank Herbert, multiple threads of potential futures and realities that, can come out of each
and then
decision.
The choices you make
move it.
Decide which one comes to fruition. But that's reality as it is right now.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
There's a bajillion different potential futures for each and every single one of us. The choices we make will determine which one of those we get. And
that's exactly what she says to Sinclair at the end of this episode. That's one of many possible futures.
Yeah. And Ben, Ben points this out a little bit ahead of the episode, but in the end, she says it's literally a future that could be, which you just said.
Mm-hmm.
I remember her saying that at the end of the episode as well. It's not guaranteed. This is just what could be. What I'm saying is when we get to Sleeping in Light, and for all the people who say this is what Lady Adira saw, I'm saying no, it's not.
I'm going to wait till the end of the episode.
There's nothing out there.
Because we get to see it.
Hey, where are they coming from?
But what we just heard tells me it's not.
20 minutes.
Battle stations. Thrusters to maximum.
We're
beat them to the jump
at our only station we can be at.
Transport vessel Achilles to all ships in Grid Epsilon.
Battle stations. Okay. Right here.
All ships in Grid Epsilon. This is a mayday.
We're going as fast as we can.
Stand by, Achilles. Help's on the way.
Right?
Yeah, they're going down.
Wing, hit it.
Right in the heel.
This is the launch sequence we love.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's such a great launch.
And you get the music. It knows exactly what it is.
Major chord hero music right there, right?
Estimate 2 hours.
Is this the same actor that plays Ben Zane later on?
No, but it sure looks similar.
It does, doesn't it?
Babylon 5 from this end.
He did such a good job as 6. They're like, let's bring you back as Ben Zane.
That's a Vorlon ship. I recognize it.
Straight from Tron.
Probably specifically that's Kosh's ship.
Yeah, because we get the run-in with Kosh and Morden coming up here.
Bay 13. Welcome back, Ambassador Kosh.
They're not for you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
He feels it. He didn't anticipate seeing Kosh here.
No. They're like, he's gone. He's gone. Now's the time to do it. But the shadows next to him were like, dude.
Yeah. Well, because he can talk to him. Like, he has...
He
is a little too close.
Uh-huh.
He's standing a little too close.
You are a very persistent young man.
I have to be. I'm not allowed to leave here until you've answered my question.
You really want to know what I want? You really want to know the truth?
He's going to dive in, but I just have to say, put yourself in Jakar's shoes, in Londo's shoes.
Uh-huh.
Some dude with beautiful hair, who, by the way, I think I paused almost exactly where you have him on your background.
It's, yeah.
Real close. But
yeah.
He stops and he's just like, what do you want? What do you want? And out of nowhere, you're like, I'm going to tell you things I've never even told my therapist.
Yeah.
Like little unrealistic.
Yeah.
I want it all back the way that it was. Does that answer your question?
You know what he never said right there?
I
had this wrong for 5 seasons.
But him going after the Narn?
He never said a word about the Narn.
No. And you know what? That's why he's the better candidate. Jakar and the Narn want this.
The Centauri.
Yeah. Centauri want the galaxy. There's no end to
They
that.
want to be back. But you know what I also heard in the middle of that? Londo has a personal thing in that.
Yeah.
I want to stop running around like I'm always late for an appointment. Like, there's the one side where he talks about his nationalism. He talks about his patriotism. He talks about him and the Centauri being what they used to be, but also me.
Mm-hmm.
There's some me in here as well. And that's really interesting.
It is. And I think timing it with his conversation with Kiro that we were just talking about, it's even more interesting because he just got that.
Yeah.
Where did we go wrong? Where did we lose it? So he's got that front of mind, and then he comes and opens that door and it just all comes out.
Right. But look, talk about Ed Wasser as an actor just for a second. Everything you need to know about him is in his face right here.
Right there.
And this is what JMS was talking about. Like, Ed Wasser's smiling and he's being really nice and he's trying to be really, really helpful. But by looking in his eyes, he is no good.
Exactly.
He is dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And he's about to do something that is not okay. All of that's about to come true. And Londo and Jakar and Delenn and the whole rest of them are putty in his hands.
100%. And he knows it.
And he's just found, he's like, that's my way in.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm going. There is something much bigger about this guy who, oh, by the way, he's like the B plot, maybe even the C plot of this episode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is where I sit back and go, it didn't have to be, you could have put this thread in any episode. It's not really, except for, I guess the eye does connect because the reason this is top of mind for Londo is because of what's going on with the eye right now. So I appreciate that. I retract what I said, JMS. Okay, I got it.
And the whole Raider thing, he's going to wrap into it here later on also.
Sure. But almost save a thought for after the show.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Ambassador, the ship of yours that's about to depart.
Commander, this is not a good time.
I have to warn you, we received information that...
Commander, look out!
That's fine. We're not really invested in
Are you sure
Kiro.
it's not the same actor as...
And if anybody
Zane?
tries to block the docking bay, I'll use the ship's thrusters and burn my way through.
Yeah, he's too...
Understood. He won't try to stop you.
Now move.
But he's got the hair for sure.
No. What are you doing? You can't just let him go.
We'll program the jump gate to reject the ship's ID code. We'll let him get outside to keep him from damaging the station. But once they're outside, believe me, they're not going anywhere.
Nadira, we should...
I like Sinclair outsmarting folks.
Uh-huh. He's like, I got
the shadows. The shadows are coming for him.
Mm-hmm.
So we understand now she's literally meaning the shadows.
Correct.
But I think what we also understand in production world, the shadows weren't necessarily meaning the shadows. They were just, this was a descriptor of like a prophetic descriptor, which is usually not super accurate of what these guys are, of the shadow men.
Right. It's
but
like,
it later becomes like, that's actually what they are, is the shadows.
Mystery thing over here.
I still don't feel like Garibaldi should be the guy out here leading this. He is head patient security.
Yeah.
This is where getting Kefir is a good idea.
It's funny what a big deal it is. There's a raider ship that can generate, and then in the future, everything generates its own jump points.
Get in and out so fast.
Yeah, and like Suzanne says, as a prophet, she might not even know what the shadows are. Like a Nostradamus thing. That's a shadow of some kind.
Texas Analyst Shock points out that Garibaldi leading the fighters makes about as much sense as Ivanov or Sinclair. I don't disagree with you there.
Although they explain it with Sinclair and Ivanov about how they had to have so many flight hours in to maintain their flight status. But
yeah.
Still. Yeah, I want to watch this through the lens of, like, is Kosh a bad guy?
Leave this place. They are not for you. Go. Leave.
You know what I'm loving here? All right. Symbolically, think Star Wars. Good lightsabers are colored
blue and yellow and green and purple.
Usually the softer end of the spectrum, the blues, right? Okay. I
see where
bad lightsabers are colored.
They're all red.
Red. Okay, this is universal. This is coloring, right? The black and white, red and blue, softer. That side of the spectrum. What color of light is Kosh bathed in right now?
Yeah, is it red?
No. What color of light is he bathed in right now?
Well, right now it's blue, but he had red going over him.
But the red goes over him.
Uh-huh.
Flip it over to what's going on with Morden. He's bathed in red most of the time, but then it goes off of him and now he's in blue, and then he comes back in red. Right?
Look at you, man.
But they're both red and bluing. They're both red and bluing. Like
amazing. Yep. See? Yeah. God, that's good. That's such a good catch. And it is. Like, neither one of them is good. Neither one of them is bad. They're important sides of a three-sided coin.
There's the hero music again. And see, look, they're all in blue. You see this? They're all in blue, right? What's the afterburner color of the Raider ships?
Right down the middle of the dome.
They've been kind of pinkish reddish. Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go, pinkish reddish. Jeez, man. Yeah.
Alpha wing fire.
Breathe, Ivanov. Breathe.
Yeah, this is nuts.
Damn.
I can remember if the shadow came here or if it was later.
Delta leader to Delta wing. Show's over. Let's
I don't remember how this goes.
Well, it seems Ambassador Kosh's encounter suit was damaged, but he's not telling how. Just asked for some equipment to have it fixed.
What about our ships?
So
Star Furies were disabled.
The implication there is Morden in the shadows and Kosh got in a little scuffle.
A little throwdown.
Look, we're big. We're organized. But in no way are we big enough to help you knock over the Centauri government and put you in charge. I don't care how much leverage you think the Eye gives you. You think they're gonna follow you just like that? Not a chance.
But I helped you.
He's recruiting a ragtag group of raiders.
This ship, big
Help
enough
me
to make
overthrow
its
the
own
government.
jump point, cost us nearly every credit we've stolen over the last 5 years. With the ransom we can get for this, we can buy one, maybe even two more. That made it worth taking the risk. Not your plan.
The lesson here, don't get in bed with the bad guys.
Right? Yeah.
You're gonna send a message to Centauri Prime.
When they're called
They've met our
raiders?
demands for the Eye, but they won't consider paying your ransom until they have proof that you're still alive.
Yeah, here's the shadow. The big black blobby thing. For all we know, that's their first incursion into regular space.
Whoever it is, go away.
And never come back.
All right.
Mr. Morden.
But, before I go, a gift from friends you don't know you have.
I was just trying to figure out why the shadows went and got the Raiders. Like, for what purpose? It was just to get this thing. That's all it was.
They chased Kiro down for the Eye. Just for this right here.
I knew that the first time around. I just forgot watching this again.
How? Where did you go, eh? Let me buy you a drink.
My good dear friend.
Fleet of drinks. How can I ever find you to thank you?
I feel like that thing should have a little more
We will
weight
find
to
you,
it.
Ambassador. We will find you.
Basically, he's standing right there. He's just got the changeling net over him or whatever.
Yeah, the shadows are like, whoosh.
Yeah.
But every name was rejected until they got to you.
Rejected by whom?
The Minbari government. They were the first to sign on to support Babylon 5 on the condition that they had approval over who was assigned to run this place. They wanted you.
Why?
Unknown.
This is where we figured they were trying to set him up as a secret agent. Totally
So-
checks right now.
Minbari were the first to sign up to support Babylon 5. They didn't pay for it. They didn't contribute. They didn't do construction. They just said, yeah, we'll come in.
Well, we find out they did financially support. That's
They did?
late. That's later though. We find that out.
They did. Okay, I forget that. Okay, so they bought their way in, and they bought their commander for approval. It makes me wonder what the Narn, the Centauri. I assume the Vorlon did nothing,
right?
Like, but what was their stipulations to joining the whole thing?
Yeah,
I feel like the League of Non-Aligned Worlds just
cool. We can come too.
Yeah, we all get one shared vote. Well, that's better than none, I guess.
He told me, but we came through the attack in one piece. The station's safe.
The vision is still there, but I can let you see if you will trust me.
Basically, she's doing a mind meld.
Yeah, here, right there.
She's touching his face.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a mind meld.
But it's her palm instead of her fingers. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Bro, it is Sleeping in Light.
No.
Yep.
No. The
Watch.
one little thing coming out the front.
Yep.
I get it, but it comes out and it spins around.
But we don't see the whole thing. We don't see the line of ships because of the. But yeah, there it is. That's
No,
JMS.
Stop it. That thing was blowing up, and that thing was escaping. This was not, okay, we've got everything shut down. We're going to come out. We're going to turn around. It's a controlled explosion. That is not the same. He was escaping from something that was already blowing up on the inside.
It's time
not
dilation.
The same.
It's time dilation. That's all it is.
Not the same.
It overlaps. That's it.
And also, we see the explosion in Sleeping in Light. It starts at one point and it goes. That's not what happened here.
But this is from Amiga level CG, which is why they had to do it this way. 4 years later, they do the other. So, like, it's better.
Listen, I get why people would get really excited to draw these two lines together. Somebody who goes to a convention who sees JMS before I do, ask him this question. Legit. And not where he's just going to lie and say yes. Was this right here intended to reflect what happens in Sleeping in Light? Because it does not, because I am telling you, it looks like the thing is escaping where explosions are already happening.
So what I believe is at this point, maybe there was still the idea of Babylon 5 being the first 5 years and Babylon Prime being the second 5-year piece. And the conclusion of Babylon 5.
Stop. I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
I want to stop you. You and I are going to do a special episode based on this later.
Perfect.
Don't go further.
Okay.
Brent is ignorant to something that Jeff is privy to. We're going to do a special thing on this later. Breaking news. Do not go further.
But remember this.
However, I will do this. I'm going to take my headphones off.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You say what you need to the audience, and then let me know when I come back on.
So this is when so Babylon 5, the first 5-year arc, ends with Babylon 5 getting blowed up. And it's the Minbari, I believe, who were going to do it. Maybe it was the Warrior Cast. It's been about a week or so since I've read it. But then in Babylon Prime, the second 5-year arc, they escaped to Babylon 4 and used that. So I think this is actually more of a prescient vision of the end of the original Babylon 5. And
Jeff,
then don't read some of the chat. So
I'm going to not. I am not seeing the rest of the chat. I'm putting it away for my own. Man, I'm back in the freaking no spoiler.
Right, yeah.
Damn it.
Just till we get to the other one, yeah.
Yeah. Here's what I just learned about myself. I am awful at lip reading.
Well, I'm also horrible at speaking, so.
I am awful. You ever watch John Boy? He does these breakdowns, particularly of baseball, of like plays that happen and whenever umpires and coaches get into it. And like he just lip reads to say what they're saying to each other and goes back and forth. And he's really good at it. I'm like, no, I suck at that game. So anyway, here we go. I get why people would like it being the same thing. It's not.
This is a possible future, Commander. And it is my hope that you may yet avoid it.
But to your earlier point, everything is a possible future.
Is this the one where I got really upset with this
Yep.
because it takes all the teeth out of it?
And you were upset throughout the entire rest of the series. Well, I mean, what's this going to be? Because it could just be anything.
It is. It takes all the teeth out of what just happened.
Yeah.
When you do that, just say that it is what it is. Because otherwise, you know what? She's not a seer. She can't tell us what's going to happen. She can only tell us what could happen. Well, you know what? I can tell you what could happen.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Eventually, this thing's probably going to blow up. There you go. Pay me.
Hey, you know what? This thing actually, what's going to happen is its orbit is going to start to degrade around Epsilon 3, and it's going to crash into the planet. That's one possibility,
right? Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate it when writers do that. Like if you're going to do something like this, have the balls. Yeah, I'm calling you out. Have the balls to let your prophecy be your prophecy, and string yourself and marry yourself to that thing, and don't get away from it. JMS, my guy. I love him. He's cool. He's good.
That was Signs and Portents for the second time. Had quite a few little deep dives we did during the watch. Any thoughts come top of mind for you? You want to talk about now? You did have something you said you wanted to save till afterwards.
Yeah, I forget exactly what that was, but here's where I am right now. Okay, what did I say before going into this episode?
That you were kind of like, it could have happened whenever, not necessarily a big deal.
Okay. What did I say the first time around?
Game-changing episode. Big deal.
This is a pretty flarging great episode.
It really is.
This is a great episode. I loved getting.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. The station is about something.
Changes this episode in so many ways, but it actually still kind of feels like the first time.
Yeah.
You know, and not just because there's so many details of like little details that I didn't necessarily remember, but like that feeling that you described that I said that I actually kind of remember having that feeling. I have that same feeling right now.
Yeah.
This is a pretty great episode. This is definitely a really important episode. It's more than just Morden coming on saying, "What do you want?" and having Londo give that little spiel.
Yeah. So much more.
There's so much more that goes into this whole deal, right? But at the end of the day, it's an episode that was engaging, entertaining. It was full, and I love episodes like this. It was so full of symbolism and just artistic creativity that you can break down, from the score being mostly in minor chords to the times when it wasn't in minor chords.
Yeah.
And it went to the hero music, right? To the lights, lighting people in certain colors at certain times, to Morden and Kosh being there in the same room, and it's swinging back and forth on both of them. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my God. Like, that's intense. I will eat my hat if you come out here and tell me that that's not intentional.
Right.
Like, it's, oh my gosh. This little I'm still miffed that it turns into a nothing burger ultimately.
Yeah.
I said this in the chat earlier. It's just a MacGuffin.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like it when things are just MacGuffins. Yeah. It's just something to move the plot forward in this particular episode. It's not actually a thing that becomes a deal. It's a MacGuffin. I really want that eye to become a deal. I know it's not going to. That's okay. You know what I'm able to do? Set that aside, because I'm a grown-up and I can think like this. I can set that aside and I can look at what we are given, and I understand what's happening with Morden. The conversation. Oh, here's another great one, Jeff. The conversation that he has with G'Kar, which was almost a good answer.
Uh-huh.
And then he has a conversation with Londo, which was a better answer.
Mm-hmm.
Both could have possibly worked. It's just this one was better.
I feel like with G'Kar's, he got to the, and then? And G'Kar's like, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I guess we show up to work the next day. And then I think that's the moment where Morden was like, okay, yeah, you're not my guy. I need someone ruthless, not someone who just wants revenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Although I think he could have worked with revenge.
He could have got there. And I'm pretty sure G'Kar at this point in his development, he could have worked with him. He could have made that work.
Yeah. And then Londo goes on to become the religious leader. Delenn with the little thing in her forehead, it just makes absolutely no sense. And I will still defend not the scene from Sleeping in Light where the thing blows up.
That's fair. I'm going to defend that also based on a conversation we'll have in the future.
Great. Jeff, how about you?
Yeah, it's so similar. And I think what really popped for me this time were those artistic choices. Like even to the point of when Delenn saw Morden and all of a sudden he's cloaked in shadow. Just so many little pieces. And what I think is great about it, this is such a more complete episode on a second viewing. You came into this being like, yeah, we watched the whole series and like it just turned into pieces of whatever, whatever. But in watching this, it literally told us the entire story of the Shadow of Warlon War, and then a lot of the Centauri Narn stuff as well was all encapsulated in this episode and set up beautifully. Yeah, this was beautiful. It was perfect. I enjoyed it a lot. What I didn't do, though, really get out of it were messages.
You know what? I was so engaged with everything else going on. Wasn't even a thought in my head.
I checked in a few times with myself, but you know what? Last time, you gave this one 2 deltas. And if you remember in season 1, deltas were kind of a, what's the message and what did we think of the episode sort of thing. Yeah. So 2, I gave it 1 delta. It just, this was an episode.
It was just an episode.
This was a semi-truck full of plot.
If I had to guess what I would have given it 2 for, maybe the message of Lady Adira that the future is not set in stone. You can make of it what you want. Maybe that might have been it. I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen again. You listened. I didn't. So yeah.
So the fun part we get to do now, Brent, is, and it's on you this week. We're building up our definitive ranking of all the episodes of the first season of Babylon 5. Now for the second time, which has been weirdly lining up pretty well with our first time ranking as well, but we'll see if that continues. Our current top 5, in 5th place, we've got By Any Means Necessary, followed by Believers and The Sky Full of Stars in number 3, The War Prayer, and our number 1 episode on the season so far is Deathwalker. Brent, where are you putting Signs and Portents?
It's not much of a discussion, Jeff. This is our new number 1 on the season.
100%. 100%.
I like Deathwalker. It's not even, no other episode is even close to this one at this point, to be honest with you. Not even close.
So in our original ranking of this, Deathwalker was our number 2 on the season. The War Prayer was number 3.
Yeah.
And The Sky Full of Stars, number 7. Signs and Portents was number 8.
This is the first episode we've had that is
out of order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think that this is one where, my God, just its completeness of the series, how could it be anything else? I've been waiting for this moment, Brent, since we hit record.
My gosh. You've been waiting for this moment for like 3 years.
Couple years. Oh my God. So that's it for Signs and Portents. Next week.
Jeff's so excited, y'all.
I
wish if you guys are just listening to the audio, Jeff is giddy. He's like a schoolgirl right now. He is smiling ear to ear. Dude, he's giggling over there.
I can't wait. We're watching TKO. TKO is next week. Oh my God. For some people, this will be a reckoning, right? Oh my God, Jeff's going to see it for the garbage it is. For me, this is going to be redemption. You're going to see just how brilliant this episode truly is. I cannot wait. Brent, do you remember what you predicted TKO was going to be?
Yeah. Is this the first time I said this? Because this is a phrase I will go on to say
a lot
if it's what over the run of the show. Jeff, I made a prediction that the next episode would be a palate cleanser.
Yeah, we had quite a
few. Which is what it was. It is a palate cleanser. Something about it being a favorite episode. You listen, Jeff. Did I elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, you said this is probably a favorite episode within the fandom.
TKO is a favorite episode within the fandom. It is a favorite episode within Jeff's fandom.
It is, yes.
I'm not wrong on that. But I said basically it's like the Chakotay boxing episode of Voyager, which was not great.
It was not. I was got to say, Matt down here, we got the redemption of Jeff Akin.
I don't know.
And Sarah laid it down. How many minds can Jeff change? I am on a mission to change
3.
minds.
He can do 3 is basically, I think, the limit there.
Yeah. So I wanted this to be about an underground MMA thing. I figured that Ivanova would have to be the one who had to fight in it. But my ultimate for real guess was this was going to be the drug episode. Be a new drug on the street called TKO, and Garibaldi was going to get roofied with it. Garibaldi's involved in it, so there's that. God, I'm really excited for this. I'm going to own now, and I'll own it next week also, but I have watched this episode since watching it the first time.
You have.
Now that's it. I haven't watched it in probably a good 2 years, but I was on the Gray 17 podcast to discuss this one. I watched it before that, and then I've watched it at least once afterwards. So I will I will endeavor to be objective in my not quite second time viewing. I am super excited for this, Brent. We're going to do it right here next week. And in fact, like, be here for this, right? If you have an opportunity to join us during the recording, prioritize it. This is going to be a banner moment in Babylon 5 for the second time. Check us out right here next week. We're going to do it all. Please, if you have not already done so, subscribe on the YouTube, on the audio apps, whatever's out there, subscribe. Leave a rating or review. If they're able to, like on Good Pods, Spotify, YouTube, leave a comment. You know, that's always awesome when we get some interaction from all of you on all the apps out there. It's super cool. But the thing that you can do that truly makes a difference, not only for Brent and myself, but to the community as a whole. I think that's one of the things I know I take a tremendous amount of pride and am very happy about in the work, Brent, that you and I do here, is we're part of just this incredible community of fantastic people. We have a bunch of them here with us now as we're recording. We have people who are watching this ahead of time in its full unedited state. And then we have our communities on YouTube and across the audio podcast networks and channels as well. I love it so much. So share this episode, share this show with someone who could really benefit from being a part of this awesome community and could enjoy this show for the first or even second time. So with that, I am going to wrap up. I'm going to get out of here because I cannot wait to get to TKO. So we'll see you next week.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh my God, I was so close. I've done it before. Yeah, what's up? What's up, Brent? What's going
on? Question.
Okay.
How do you think this is all going to end?
Like the episode or like the podcast? What do you mean?
Yeah, like the podcast, like you and me. We were talking about this a bit. Look, here's the thing. I had a dream the other day.
Okay.
And I just can't stop thinking about it.
So what happened, man? How do we end?
Well, what happens is you and I wind up getting into a big fight and the whole thing just, like height of our popularity, but we get in a big fight and the whole thing just like, we just walk away. All right. Okay. And it's like a few years, but then this other podcaster comes in and starts stirring some stuff up. And actually we wind up reuniting in like a final battle, like a war of the ratings where you and I come back together and we produce the best content we've ever made ever. And while we ultimately will go our separate ways, and we did go our separate ways for quite a while, we do reunite for this one final battle and we come out victorious. But ultimately it's because you make the greatest sacrifice a podcaster can make.
What is that?
Your microphone. You destroy your microphone in the process. And so you can't podcast anymore because your mic's gone.
Is that really going to happen?
I mean, I don't know. It's just one possible future because anything could happen and stuff like this. We also could just keep going and going and going and going and going.
For crying out loud.
I mean, we're not some deep space franchise. The station is about something.